Hello again, here I am with the next video on my request list, trying to do as many as possible at the moment to really catch up with you guys and get you the videos that you requested, even though it's taken so long. Now, as ever, this is about the Life Path 7, which is your main purpose, and the soul urge number 9. Now, remember, I'm dealing with these numbers on their own. Okay. And remember, you've always got to think about those sub lessons. Now, looking at these numbers on their own, you'd think the soul urge 9, the motivation and drive in the 9 really supports the life path or life purpose 7, because it drives the 7. It drives the 7 towards studying spirituality, spiritual law, learning to develop themselves intuitively, which is the basis of what the Life Path 7 needs to learn. So this is a very, very useful motivation number to bring to support the Life Path 7, other than having a soul urge number 7. And on their own, you'd say that the motivation in the 9 is going to support the Life Path 7 to a large degree. But where the Life Path 7 might be neglected is where the soul urge or motivation and drive of the 9 wants to spend more time communicating and teaching what they already know to others. So the soul urge 9 motivates this person to help others and bring on their well-being, which is a very, very great thing to do. But you've always got to go back to that Life Path 7. That is fine for this person to be driven towards communication, but their focus should always be on their own inner development, because that's their Life Path 7. So it's very important that their communication and teaching to others doesn't overshadow to a huge degree or an unbalanced degree against the inner development needed from the Life Path 7. So that's when you're looking at the numbers on their own. And what I often forget from my videos is you've got to consider them sub-lessons as well. For example, a 3-4-7, because of that 3 to communicate emotionally, the soul urge motivation 9, although you've got to consider those sub-lessons as well, it's very complex numerology. It's going to support you more because of that 3. A 1-6-9, because of that nurturing 6, very much goes with that 9. Again, the soul urge 9 is going to be very helpful when it comes to intuition and nurture of others. But there's going to be a certain amount of reconciliation with ideals there, because you've got a motivation for an idealistic 9 and a life path energy of a sub-lesson 6 about the reconciliation of those ideals and expressing those ideals. So remember, you've always got to deal with those sub-lessons. But obviously for this video, I'm going to be dealing with just the numbers on their own. But you remember, you've got to always consider those sub-lessons as well. So Life Path 7, most important number in your chart for you to develop. So your priority, your areas of development to achieve in this lifetime is to make it your priority to develop full trust in your own soul's stored intuitive wisdom. So when you're a Life Path 7, it's all about your own development, to develop your wisdom so that you can understand and be safe in the knowledge that all experience, both positive and negative, are all lessons for your soul's evolution that you need to learn by, and to reframe difficulties as lessons and thinking to yourself, okay, I'm going through this, but what do I need to learn here? This is what the 7 is all about: developing their soul, evolving their soul, reframing the negative experience as lessons to learn, and even reframing those positive experiences. What did I do well? What do I need to do again? It's very much about your own development, and that's got to be your focus when you're a Life Path 7. Your own inner development and your own self-discovery, your spirituality, your intuitive development. Think, research, run that research through your intuitive wisdom balance your ability to research and look at worldly theories and wisdom, but then have that ability to filter that through the intuitive voice to go, what about that information rings true to me intuitively? And what about that information that I'm going to put aside for now? And take out those parts that really ring to you and use them for your own inner development. You're here to be a free thinker. You're not here to learn from the conventions or the fashions of others. You're here to learn through your own research and intuitive wisdom. Be independent, also interdependent, because you've also got to learn to connect with others, to balance your social and alone time, and make sure that you're always connecting emotionally with others so that you're not isolating yourself too much. The soul urge number 9 is definitely motivated to improve the well-being of others, and is really going to help the life path 7 not to, or to be less likely to isolate themselves from others, because when you're driven in the 9, you're driven to help others. So isolating yourself away from others is counterintuitive to a motivated 9. You're motivated to develop that strong intuitive wisdom. Tick for the life path 7, because it means the intuition you're here to develop and listen to and apply. You're going to be motivated to develop that. Brilliant. You want to be very spiritual. Bingo. Perfect for the life path 7, and it's really going to drive your spirituality to develop towards being that 7. Trusting faith over logic. Well, the 7 is here to kind of balance the 2, but to always put their intuition and their spirituality and their perceptions first. Again, another tick for the soul urge 9. You're going to be able to research and develop yourself and use your intuitive wisdom to be able to filter that information, which is what you need to do for the 7. You want to improve the well-being of others. You're very humanitarian. You spread yourself too thin sometimes. In fact, sometimes you can be so motivated to help others that you can end up being a fixer of other people's lives. And not only is that stopping you or taking you away from your own life path 7, which is the whole point of you being here, you're not here to be a fixer, you're here to deal with you. So not only are you stepping on your own path by being a fixer of others, you're actually stepping on the path of that person who needs to learn by their own mistakes rather than having something gluing their life together. So you want to communicate, you want to influence others to help them to improve their well-being, and sometimes far too much to fix them. You practice by preached wisdom. You love to teach, you love to speak, you love to counsel, you love to advise. And this is all fantastic. And depending on your sub-lessons, this can sometimes take you away from that main focus on the 7, because you've always got to take everything back to that 7. And of course, you've got to keep in mind the sub-lessons and also look at your birthday number. But remember, I'm dealing with these numbers on their own. So just on their own in isolation, this improving the well-being of others could sometimes step on your life path 7. And you need to sometimes, come away from wanting to fix other people's lives or help other people, which is a great thing. But remember, you are here to be a life path 7. And that has got to be your focus in this lifetime. But in every other way, the soul urge 9, the motivation and drive in the 9 really supports the inner development, the intuitive and spiritual development that a life path 7 is here to achieve. Now, I've cut the life path 7 down, as I normally do, into those 10 sections. So you're here to learn to have faith. Intuitive, such a connection with your intuition that such a knowledge and wisdom and knowing that that you're an immortal soul that has experience from multiple lifetimes all locked up in the soul within you. And you've got to trust that inner knowledge and access it. Unlock the door to the inner library, use it, listen to it and apply it. And trust it above all else without overthinking or applying too much worldly logic. You're here to balance the 2, but remember that the king of the road has to be the spirituality, the faith, the intuition. That's got to be the deciding factor. You've got to listen, learn to listen and follow your inner voice so that you feel safe enough, because you intuitively are communicating it. You feel safe enough to communicate your soul's wisdom to others. Now, there's an element of communication in the 7, but it's got to be about that inner development is your focus. And where the communication is concerned, you've got to make sure that your very motivation and drive in the Soul Urge 9 doesn't steer you too far away towards communication and away from developing you, as I've just said. So, as I said earlier, your main element of your 7 is really supported when it comes to the 9 motivation, drive, energy, being driven to study spiritual law and wisdom and access and trust the soul and the intuition within them. Your motivation and your drive to link to your inner voice and your spirituality for wisdom, and then communicate that spiritual wisdom and law to others, not just with your words, but with how you live your life. You're an example to others, or you want to be when you're a motivated 9. So again, as a 7, it's good to communicate with others, but again, your main focus is yourself. So support your life path 7 by paying special attention to your own spirituality, your own inner voice and intuition and gut feelings and perceptions, so that you can feel, because that's going to be the major thing for you, is your own development, so that you can develop towards answering your drive to communicate your wisdom to your followers with intuitive confidence and charisma. So again, these 2 numbers, they're like the 3 and the 5 together. They're very body up, the 7 and the 9, and they're good numbers to have together. So paying special attention to your own spirituality, your own gut feelings, your own development, your own self-discovery, so that you can then spend some time communicating that to others as a spiritual teacher, which is very much what these numbers are pushing you towards. As ever, you've got to really consider your talent numbers in all this, because there's quite a few talent numbers in our chart. To see where you can be supported or maybe held back in other ways. So you're here to trust that the world is not against you. Everything is going just as it should for your learning and development. The universe is everything, existing in perfect balance, like a cosmic library of all knowledge, all experience, both light and dark. We all have both light and dark within us, and to push that dark away and to feel that, oh, why do bad things happen? Dark is part of the light, and they have to be balanced, unfortunately. And for us to evolve as souls, we need to learn to deal with the two in order to fully experience the joy of love. You've got to have some knowledge of the horrific nature of hate, and find a balance between the two and an understanding between the two. We've got to experience all this to learn and evolve. And that's what the 7 needs to get right down deep inside them. Now, again, your motivation in the 9 to study spirituality is going to be really useful. But also, as a 9, you want to move on. You hate getting stuck in that victim mentality. You hate to feel weak and be held back by things that have happened in the past or people that may have hurt you in the past. You just want to move on, let go, excuse me, and move on to the next. You're driven to study that spiritual wisdom. Brilliant. And that's going to help you to a massive degree to develop towards knowing and seeing that all experience its potential learning opportunities for your soul's evolution. Very important learning to get into your soul. So to support your life path 7 primarily, you must understand and accept that all experience, everything you go through, everything you've gone through in life and what you're going through now and what you will go through are necessary, both positive and necessary, positive and negative, for opportunities to evolve your soul, not opportunities for you to be beaten down by negative experience and lifted up by positive experience. There's so much more to it than that. Excuse me, I'm just going to have a little drink because I'm going to cough again. A little tickle in the throat sometimes. And I've been told off before because one time I had a cough suddenly come and it went straight into the microphone. Upset my viewers quite a lot, that did, excuse me. Oh dear. This extension that I'm in can have quite dry air and sometimes it scratches my throat. Anyway, moving on. So element 3. So as I keep going on about, because I'm a 7 myself and I have to keep this in mind because this is my life path number. Your focus in this lifetime is got to be you, your inner development. Rather than your outer development and success in the world, it's got to be your own inner development. Now, the 7 is here to communicate to and be a spiritual teacher to others, which is why I do what I do, because it's what I love, and it helps me walk my life path. And of course, I'm not just a 7, I'm a 3-4-7. So I am here to express myself in order to develop my 7-ness. Anyway, your focus for this lifetime must be your inner development, you, self-discovery, rather than what other people expect, outer development, success, blah. You know, you've got to develop yourself. It's all about your own self-discovery and developing yourself spiritually. Meditation, time in nature, this is all imperative for you. Your 9 drive and motivation means that you're driven towards that self-study, self-discovery, reading, spiritual development, meditation. Your interest in communicating, teaching, healing and protecting others, again, could disrupt your inner focus somewhat. But, you know, you need to use some of that in order to be the spiritual teacher that you're here to be, because communicating your wisdom to others is a lesson in itself for a 7. You know, the experience that 7s have with the outside world should all contribute as much as their theory and intuition towards their development as a soul. So support your life path 7. Again, prioritize your own inner self-discovery, your own spiritual and intuitive development over anything you may do in the world. That has got to come first. Okay, meditation, time in nature, bringing your inner knowing back, understanding that everything you research you already knew anyway, because your intuition's gone ding ding. Yeah, I already knew that. So that's what the 7, you know, does in this world. So moving on, you're here to learn, to be a thinker, a studier, a researcher of the metaphysical, the big questions. You know, why am I here? You know, what is source energy? What is God really? You know, because 7s aren't, they're definitely not about sort of religion as such. They like to look beyond the veil and look for the real truths about spirituality. So they'll research and problem solve and look for answers and study the questions and the theorists, research, learn, analyze theories in order to accrue that wisdom, in order to put through your intuitive wisdom. So as I said, the 9, you're motivated and driven to ponder and research those big metaphysical questions. You're driven to study wisdom that you want to communicate and teach to others as a leader or just an authoritative teacher. So again, support that 7 by studying those big questions, immerse yourself in, analyze those theories, remember, and those spiritual concepts, and intuitively accrue that wisdom and truth, depending on what you feel intuitively is true. And then, you know, you've got all the information you need to be able then to communicate with those you trust as a 7 in order to be the spiritual teacher you're here to be. A spiritual teacher with a focus on themselves. You know, mustn't forget that as a 7. You're here to learn to filter, as I've already said. I tend to merge all this in, don't I? Your research wisdom through your intuition, and use your research of other people's theories for your own needs. So taking up all the theories and wisdom of the world and feeding it through your intuitive sieve. Okay. Sounds weird, I know. Put it through the intuitive sieve and only take what sieves through, only take what your intuitive feels and knows to be true. And then using that in order to develop yourself and to communicate with others. And again, remember those sub-lessons. So again, as a 7, you might be totally spiritual and run off and go and live in a tree and ignore all of the world and other people's theories and, you know, want to live in a tree in the jungle and turn into like a spiritual vagabond and tramp. Or you can completely reject spirituality and be totally in the brain, totally over analytical, thinking too much, stepping all over your intuitive voice within rather than listening to it. And of course, you're here to find that balance. So again, the 9 motivation energy is really perfect. Again, it means that you want to develop, you're driven to develop and use your intuition to access your research and your decisions and whatever you do for its truth, to decide what you're going to do from one moment to the next. So your 9 motivation energy will happily attempt to listen to the world through the eyes of a sage or a spiritual teacher, which is what is needed for the life path 7. So support that life path 7 by achieving balance between that analysed research, putting that research through the sieve of your intuition, trusting that intuitive wisdom, and only using the access spiritual truths and wisdoms that you feel intuitively have truth to you. Okay? Free thinker, like I said, you're not here to follow the crowd, you're here to follow intuitive wisdom. So that means taking your wisdom from beyond the veil, because the system is not going to really, the system has its own agenda, or it's full of people with their own agendas. And, this is about you and your life. So your 9 drive and motivation means that you're driven to think freely and not be and behave authentically and not, be driven by the conventions and the ideals of the world. Because the 9 motivation energy is very idealistic. They want to make the world a better place, but the 9 motivation energy is non-judgmental too. They understand that we're not all perfect yet. We're all spiritual works in progress. So the Soul Urge 9 is not going to be happy following the crowd, which again is a good thumbs up for the Life Path 7. Especially if a concept or something doesn't resonate with them, they're not a follower. Okay, they're driven to influence others, not the other way around. The 9 doesn't get influenced, or the motivation and drive of the 9 is going to push this person not to listen to the influence of others unless it's filtered through their intuitive wisdom and they feel that to be true. So support your Life Path 7 by being that free thinker, 3 intuitor, who happily follows your own intuitive norms of appearance and opinion, because it's not all about everyone else. It's about you finding your own truths. The 7 is very much a truth seeker, and you're not here to listen to what everyone else tells you to do or tells you to believe. You're here to research and use your intuition to find that truth for yourself. And you must always keep that in mind as a Life Path 7. The thing is with the 7 is, I know I'm a Life Path 7 and I've got a 3 in my sub-lessons and a 4 to deal with. So you can see focus and dynamism is an issue. So the ability to focus is or not ability to focus is in the 7 already. So with me, my expression number 5, without my mastery, I was just scratching the surface of loads of subjects, looking here, there and everywhere. I mean, to have a 7 life path, an 11 birthday, again in the clouds, and a 5 expression, I never focused on anything until I found my numerology mastery. Anyway, I keep digressing. So again, you're here to develop the ability to focus on something long enough to develop it into something useful. And it's so important that you take all the other numbers in your chart into account when you're looking at all this and making decisions, because you can be scattered and struggle to focus on any one spiritual or self-discovery subject at a time, so that you can further develop yourself to its potential and communicate that to others. But as a motivated 9, you're very eclectic in your interests. You love spirituality, but you like to look at other things, and you can turn your hand to anything, really. Your drive and motivation will look in any direction. You're not going to push anything away without looking at it first. So this can exacerbate sometimes your motivation to research and look around and look at everything at least once and be adventurous. Can actually, to a certain degree, the motivation there to be driven and to look around you can actually not help the life path 7 to focus. Because the 9 likes to experience many things. The 9 loves to be adventurous and be social with others, which is good. You've got to communicate emotionally with others when you're a 7, but it's going to disrupt your focus onto one subject, because you enjoy many subjects and your 7 wants you to look at many subjects. So this is going to be a difficult one for you. In order to find your focus on your passion, what really rings your bell the most? Start there, because if you haven't already found your passion and your focus for your life path 7, it would be really useful for you to do so. So support that life path 7 by focusing on a self-discovery, spiritual specialism in whatever field that really, really is a passion for you. And focus on this subject until you have achieved useful progress, your own development, and even the development of others, or further communication to the development of others. Okay, so focusing is really important for you. Because it's something you find so difficult, and it's something that's really going to help not only develop you as a 7, but it's going to answer your drive to communicate to others as well. Interdependence. The 7 can be very insular, they can push everyone away, think they can do everything themselves, and they need to understand. I mean, the wisdom tells them that we are all interdependent and linked, but we don't always do it in practice. We think we can do everything on our own, and sometimes we can be quite aloof and push others away. And the thing is about the 7 is they're here to learn to communicate more and connect with others. So being more interdependent is really important for the 7, and not always thinking that they have to do everything on their own. And the thing is, when you're a motivated 9, you don't really like asking for help. So again, you can be overly independent. So your motivation in the 9 can exacerbate your independence, or your fierce independence in the 7. It means that you love to give help to others. You love to support others interdependently, giving yourself to other people, but you hate asking for help yourself, which isn't interdependent, is it? It's you giving away all your energy and not closing the loop and having that back, feeling that you can do everything yourself. Your drive to fix everyone else around you may make you feel like you can't ask for support in return, or tell yourself you don't need help. Hide your heart. I'm the teacher, not the teached or the taught. So support that life path 7 by ensuring that you love to give and receive more in equal measure. Remember, you're not just a healer, you're here to be healed as well. You need balanced, healthy interdependence, and it's really important that you express yourself and ask for help, guidance, advice and support to the same degree that you give it, because it's important that you go to a support to others when you need it. And then the energy flows and everybody is interdependent and helping each other as one, which is what you're here to be, interdependent, flowing as one. And that's the organism of source energy in the world. So reconciling those deep emotions. 7s are a well of deep, deep, deep emotions that they hide behind a door of aloofness, a well. And, they can look to others like there's nothing there, there's no emotion. And people can think, what is the deal with this person? I can't connect with this person, because the 7 is hiding themselves behind this wall of mistrust. Who are these people around them? Can I trust them? Can I trust them to communicate me to them? So at first you can come across quite aloof and detached, and it's your lesson in this lifetime to use your intuition to help you learn who you can trust and who you can't, so that you can start to connect emotionally, not only just to yourself, but to the people that you trust, the people that are close around you. Your drive and motivation in the 9 energy means that you love to be emotionally expressive. You love to communicate with others and have fun, basically. Express yourself and have a good laugh. Be quite emotionally turbulent, but in a positive way. You may be driven to help people sorry, you might be driven to help too many people at once, which can make you distant from those close. I mean, because, you know, you've only got so much energy to go around. And if you're spreading that energy too far out, you're not leaving enough behind all the time for those that are close to you. And that is going to get in the way of you connecting emotionally to others if you let that drive and motivation take over. You don't suffer fools gladly, and fools especially is going to bring out your 7 aloof disdain. No, not talking to you, you are a Burke kind of attitude. And again, that's not going to help you connect emotionally to others. So to support your life path 7, learn to deal with and reconcile and express your sensitive emotions positively towards others to help you connect more with those close. Remember, don't spread yourself so thinly. Remember everybody else around you, those close, because it's not just about helping those far away. And you are, you know, you have a lot of humanitarian motivations as a soul urge 9, but your focus has got to be on that 7, developing your own emotional connections with others. Okay, so you can start connecting more with those close. Again, this is all fighting against the isolation that sometimes life path 7s can bring on themselves. You're here to learn and to balance your need to be alone and to work alone with still having social contact and connecting emotionally with others. See how I merge all this? I try and put structure to it, but I still repeat myself and merge my words a lot. You're here to balance your need to be alone and be around others and connect around others. Because as a 7, you love your own self-study, or you're here, you know, as a soul urge 9, you love your own self-study, but you're here to be alone, work alone, but not ensure that you don't isolate yourself too much from others. There's got to be a 50-50 balance in the two. Now, your drive in the 9 means that you're happy around other people. You love to have a laugh. You're quite the leader, quite the humorous one, equally happy to spend time alone in spiritual research. So again, in many ways, the soul urge, the motivation, the drive in the 9 is helpful. There's only a couple of niggly bits that might be more difficult when it comes to drive and motivation, when it comes to following your life path 7. So supporting that life path 7 by being conscious that you're balancing your alone research time with your social contact to prevent that isolation. Because remember, even though I'm saying it's all about your own inner development, your social contact is also about your inner development. It's not just about your theory studying. It's not just about your meditation and your time in nature. It's also about learning by your experience, learning by your communication with others, because it's communicating with others that's going to teach you the strongest lessons in life. So you've got to balance the two. Don't be pushing people away, because it's like you're pushing away the practical. You're doing all the theory and you're loving it, you know, all on your own, doing all that theory, but you're not doing the practical. And, you know, you've got to have both. And people are going to be that channel towards developing who you are as a 7. Research, experience, and then filter that through the sieve of your intuition. Okay, so it's really important that you keep that in mind for other people in your life. So I hope you found this video really useful today. As you know, I do readings. So if you'd like a long or a short reading, you can email me or contact me on social media, or you can even put messages on my comments. I also teach numerology. I've got books out. Can't believe I haven't mentioned my books today. I must be tired. So I've got 2 books out at the minute. All you've got to do is search my name on Amazon. But I've also put links in the description box to both my books if you'd like to take a look at those. The book that supports this video is to come, because it's my 3rd of the trilogy about the soul urge numbers. But the Know Your Life Purpose and Know Your Talents books are out now on Amazon. I also teach on Udemy, so there's links to my Udemy courses also in the description box. And you can request videos and ask me questions by emailing me or just putting comments on my videos. And I have a list of all my videos that I have requested. Sometimes it might take me a while to post those videos, but I never wipe anyone's video off my list. They always get done. So it might take me some time, but they will always get done. Now, I hope you've really enjoyed my video today, but as ever, you've always got to trust the soul within you first before you listen to me or anyone else around you, because only the soul within you knows what's best for you. See you soon. Bye.